All right, and we're back with Chad Jacobs from Stevenson Equipment. He is the tower crane specialist. And so we wanted to ask him a few more questions involving the crane industry. And so, as far as it comes to cranes on the job site, where have you seen mechanically that they've gotten better?
Well, I think for my machines, traditionally, what I use, and probably I'd say for tower cranes as a whole, it's very limited moving parts on a tower crane. Realistically, there's 3 electric motors running these machines. So from a mechanical standpoint, there's not a lot of moving parts. There's not a lot of things that go wrong with these machines. You got electric motors running the hoist, running a trolley hoist, and then running the slew, or what makes the crane actually swing around. So very limited movement there. And then mechanically, now with new software, you can diagnose things, without being on the job site. So that's a big advantage with Poton in particular. With their CCS systems, we're able to see faults and codes, mobily and address it, or address something that could be an upcoming issue before it becomes a issue.
Okay. So you're seeing a big improvement on the service side and being able to service these machines faster.
Absolutely. Yep,
So
absolutely.
A lot of the time, on cranes, I know sometimes it's a little harder with some other equipment because you're dealing with these big diesel engines and things that salesmen may not have the background in. But with cranes, it seems like there's less moving parts that may need to be diagnosed. And so, are you finding that it's a lot easier for you to just jump on a call with a customer and just figure it out, as opposed to having to get the service department always involved?
Absolutely. And that's what, most of the times the customer is going to call me first. So they call me first because a lot of times we can work through an issue and then come up with a solution. So it definitely is, it streamlines that for me. And because they are more simplistic, I'm not a technician by any means, but I can usually at least get the troubleshooting done, a lot of the troubleshooting done before a technician needs to go to a job site, or at least saves a partial trip going to the job site, which again, is going to save the customer and save Stevenson Equipment money.
Yep, exactly. And let's move on from the planning that we talked about earlier, and just actually on the job site. From your perspective, what do the best job sites have in common?
The best job sites, I think, have in common is everybody's on the same page, communication. When I show up on a job site, it shouldn't be a surprise that we're there with the crane. So the best job sites for me is when my technicians come in, everybody knows what's coming. They know where the crane's going. They know how we're accessing the site. And that's all done in a plan that I put together. But that plan means nothing if it's not kind of shared with everybody on site. So coordination, is just a necessity. And that's where the right job sites and the best job sites are just ahead of the game. Everybody knows, everybody's on board, and it just kind of rolls seamlessly.
And just to make this more practical for listeners that may be on job sites all day long, what are you seeing? What they're actually doing to effectively communicate?
Well, a lot of times it'll be toolbox talks. It'll be their morning meeting. Most sites have a morning meeting, a safety meeting, or they have a weekly meeting with all the subs. And probably that's the most important, is because, it's not just the GC or our customer we're dealing with. It affects all the subs on the site. So if we're coming in, with 4 tractor trailers, it's going to affect how everything runs on the job site. So knowing that early on, them being able to plan on it, and again, us putting something together that everyone knows where we're coming at, how we're coming to the site, what's going to be needed, what we're going to access. It just kind of, no matter what, we're going to impact the job site. We want to have the least amount of impact. And a good way to do that is for communication with everybody that's on there on that site together.